Okay, well, hi, I'm Morgan.
So everyone's coming.
Yeah, we got confirmation that they aren't being in. So it's your specific computer that
The speaker's not working.
isn't letting you hear them.
Oh, it's for them. That's okay.
Okay, like I said, I'm Morgan. I am a biomedical forensic science student. I'm currently in my second year of my master's degree.
Oh, okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Kyle. I am a second-year master's student here at GMS as well, and I'm part of the Department of Pathology and Lab Medicine.
Hi guys, I'm Julian Jackson. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, and I'm representing the Oral Health Science program, which I'm a student right now.
And I'm Kristen. I moved to Boston from DC, and I am a second year in the MAMS program, pursuing a master's in medical sciences.
Awesome. So I guess we can go through the slide. We're going to go through the slides and share a little bit of why we chose BU and the programs that we are a part of. All right. So one of the things that we want to tell that GMS is in the heart of Boston, where you are free to be immersed in the medical and sciences field. Boston is notoriously known for being the center of biomedical technology, pharmacy, and all that stuff. So BU is definitely a gateway for everyone, especially if you're considering attending as part of the GMS programs. Cool. All right. So
yeah, so like as he said, Boston, as you can see on the slideshow, is a college-oriented city. That's something like being from the South, like I didn't really realize coming here. But everywhere you walk, you see students, and so it's like puts you in a studious mind state. So, which is like very refreshing when you come here for school, because you really want to feel like innovative and really feel like you're surrounded around. Just like is what it feels like when I'm walking in the city. Not to mention, from Birmingham, there's a lot of diversity here. I'm not used to that, but it's been very refreshing. Undergrad, I did undergrad in DC. So, but yeah, and this says the mountains north, the white and the green mountains, which I'm an avid hiker, so I've been to. And then it says the oceans and beaches, which I'm assuming are in Maine, but I've been to the Acadia Forest in Maine, and it's beautiful. So, like I said, the accessibility, the college-oriented city, just kind of really sets it up like to have a great experience, a great educational experience.
And there are also beaches accessible on the MBTA
Oh,
line.
there is.
Which is great for weekends during this.
For sure.
Something that I really like about Boston, so I'm from the Midwest, I'm from Ohio. We don't have that much public transportation. There is so much public transportation here. You can take the T, you can take a bus. Honestly, you could walk if you wanted to. But like they were saying, anywhere you go, even if you just need to get out of your room and go study somewhere, there's going to be other people in the city studying or doing work on their laptop or whatever it may be.
all right. So within the GMS community, there are various opportunities to get involved. Me and Kristen actually were part of GMS, so I was part of it last year, and she's currently involved in it. And coming from California is definitely something that you yearn to have, especially because, when I moved to Boston, I didn't really know anyone else. And, being involved in a community like that makes it a lot easier for you to meet individuals and contribute back to the community that you're involved in. Boston University has programs not only with the school, but also with BMC, which is literally right across the street from the school. And then so there are other opportunities that student organizations such as GMSSO that participates in that and volunteers in that capacity as well.
Yeah, so I'm the vice president of GMSSO this year, and that's been a great experience, for meeting people across other graduate programs. The MAMS program is specifically very large, so I think it's nice to kind of get to know people in pathology and like genetic counseling. So that's been great, and it's also been really amazing to see like how receptive the GMS faculty and the GMS administration are to like student feedback. They really like actively seek out student feedback and actively make changes based on the feedback that they're getting. So I think that's like one of the really cool, unique parts of GMSSO. And then also we just host events for students, as well as I think listed on your slides, there's like MISO, WPDC, a lot of other really active, really great student groups that kind of design programming around those specific interests. And there's also a lot of crossover and collaboration between GMS, the School of Public Health, the like School of Medicine, the dental school, we're all on the same campus. So you'll get to meet a lot of those other students as well through our shared programming.
All right. So now I guess we're going to talk about the research. A lot of the programs here, whether it's a master's program or PhD programs, involve research or any part of that. I know Julian's going to talk about his capstone and all that, but one of the things, the core things that you are able to complete if your program enables it is a thesis that you are able to generate and facilitate. So within my program, we're able to utilize our connections with BMC in order to complete the thesis that we have now. So being part of the pathology program, I'm able to work not only with clinicians at BMC, but also work with researchers in order to integrate those two things together, because the ultimate goal of research is to have a clinical standpoint in a way. And so my thesis currently focuses a lot on the analysis of a cell adhesion molecule with the development of colorectal cancer. So you have mentors and individuals that are able to guide you throughout that entire process as well.
I want to do Bill's research. Someone's like the least.
So my program also has a thesis to it. What's really nice about the biomedical forensics program is that we are kind of in two parts. So you have your classwork and your thesis work, but you can decide yourself, do you want to focus on the chemistry, toxicology side, or do you want to focus more on the biology and DNA side? And you actually get to choose that. You get to choose kind of what your thesis is focused on. So that's really nice, is that it's not just a project handed to you. I mean, granted, our professors will give you a project if you need to, but you are welcome to create a project around any question that you have in the field. And for instance, my thesis that I'm currently working on right now, I am testing different types of tubes that are out there for forensic research. Especially with all the sexual assault kits, because we're finding that we're losing DNA, which is my focus. So I am testing the new products that are out there that are claiming to have a higher yield produced when you go through the process. So it's really nice because I get to work with my thesis advisor, who's the head of the department, who has been on countless cases, has real life experience. And that's the thing that all of my professors have. We're a small program, but all of our professors have real world experience. And if they don't know something, one of their connections do.
MAMS also has a thesis component that can be literature or research. And this year I decided to pursue a research thesis. I'm working in the lab of Dr. Stern at the BU Alzheimer's Disease Center and Center for Chronic Traumatic Encephalopathy. That is a tongue twister.
Yep.
But it's been amazing to be, especially as someone, I did neuro in undergrad, to be in such a truly world-renowned lab, publishing all the time and making like really meaningful advances in research on chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Dr. McKee is like an amazing woman mentor in research. And yeah, the thesis component has been a really rewarding way to gain more experience in research hours. I'm applying to med school this year, so that specifically has been helpful, and also just learn a lot about a topic that I probably wouldn't have otherwise gotten to learn about.
Yeah. So I come from a research background, but in oral health sciences, you have the choice to do, like you said, a literature or research. But most people decide to do the capstone, which kind of keeps us here for just a year. So we're not as research based, but the option is still there for if you want to do it.
All right. Housing. So I know a lot of people will have questions. I had this question before moving here to Boston. I literally did not know how things are going to be. However, I do want to emphasize Boston is a very, very small circumference wise. You can literally walk from one area to another area in under 20 minutes. And I think that's very accessible to a lot of individuals. The Boston Medical Campus is in the south end of the city where, like I said before, you are close to Boston Medical Center, but you're also close to a lot of other places. So, you know, like South End has a very rich history of pathology and other discovery of diseases here. And you also are very close to a lot of food places. So I know a lot of people will want to know about that too. So you have a very diverse community out here. But with regards to housing, you have different options that you could live at. There are various apartment complexes are available to you. I currently live at the Peabody Hall in Fenway, which is only graduate housing, the only graduate housing that's offered to graduate students at the current moment, that's funded or at least owned by BU. So that's another option that you could go to. I don't know about everyone else.
So you mentioned that you live at Peabody. So one of the great resources is if you go to BU Real Estate, they have a bunch of listings there. You can see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. But you can also look for different listings within the Boston area. It doesn't have to necessarily be owned by BU. One thing that I found that helped me last year was I actually applied and I was a graduate RA. So I lived in the dorms on the undergrad campus. I helped out with having residents of my own. I had 3 floors that I was in charge of, as well as I actually was in charge of the undergrad RAs in another building. So I helped with their programming, I helped with their administrative things and a lot of different things, but they actually provided the housing for me. So that was one less stress that I had to worry about and I had to figure out, and it helped out a lot. So definitely look at that if that's something that you're interested in, but you can also look for grad positions, grad RAs, live-in positions at other universities around Boston. It doesn't have to be BU, because a lot of the other schools will actually just take in grad students if you apply and get the position.
Yeah, I don't live in the South End. Last year I lived walking distance from campus in Roxbury on the other end of campus. And this year I'm living in Jamaica Plain. I think like this area is great because it's pretty metro accessible. So I take the Orange Line in every day, not too far from a Green Line stop. The BU shuttle runs between the undergrad campus and the Fenway campus. And the med campus. So sometimes if I don't feel like walking from the T, I can just hop on the shuttle because there's a stop right outside of that station. It's pretty easy to get here, I think, from most places.
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy. I live in Fenway. I don't live in one of the halls. I just live in one of the BU real estate houses, and it's awesome. I wanted to live closer to South End, but you can't really beat like 24-hour maintenance and just always being there, like when it's cold and you're from Alabama and the heater doesn't work or you don't know how to turn it on. So it's definitely been a plus staying in the BU, but I have many classmates that do not stay in BU real estate, so the options are there.
Cool. All right, I guess we're gonna open it up for questions. So if you all have any questions, just let us know and we'll answer them.
Yep. Just feel free to put it in the little chat box and we can see it when it pops up.
Yep.
Should we? I think this was cool about getting into dental school.
Yeah, I think in the meantime, you're going to talk
Yeah.
about like why you chose here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the meantime, we're gonna talk about random things that they
Yeah,
gave
like-
us to
All right, so-
address while you guys are listening.
All right, so I have an interesting situation. like I said before, I come from a research background. This is my second master's. My last master's was more research based, which I had to do a research thesis for. But kind of at the end of it, I kind of realized that I didn't want to go into like pharmaceutical or biotech. I really wanted to give dental school just one more shot. So I got into LHS, and it has honestly been the best decision that I made, because I didn't come into this year expecting to get into dental school, honestly. But through my classmates, through like growing as a student, becoming a better student, I applied, and Dr. Davies is amazing. So it's come into, I just didn't get into dental school. Now I have like options, and I'm trying to like decide. And so like I think that this program is simply amazing, not because it's like a renowned program, but also it's really important to me that it makes you a better student, a student that can not just survive dental school, but actually get through it and excel and become a dentist, become, you know, the dream that you've always been dreaming of. And that's why I love LHS. So it's been awesome. That's why I decided to get a second master's, even though I already tried. So yeah, it was worth it for sure.
I guess I'll jump onto that because I have a pretty similar experience. I think MAMS is the medical school equivalent of OHS, I think would be a fair assessment. So I took a couple years off after graduation, was working in health policy, and decided I really did want to become a physician. MAMS I would say has definitely helped me get there. I hadn't applied to med school before, so I don't really have a benchmark, but it gave me the opportunity to really like take medical school equivalent classes, test myself in a really academically rigorous environment. I will say the first year of MAMS is one of the most difficult things I've ever done, but also by far, one of the most rewarding. I have gotten into medical school now, so okay. So I truly just have MAMS to thank for that. In addition to my coursework, I'm now scribing at BMC, volunteering here. There were so many opportunities available to you as a student at BU and just in the Boston area in general. So that's why I chose MAMS, and I love it.
Awesome. So we have our first question. So one of the first questions is, do you find that you interact with grad students from a variety of programs, or do you spend all your time with students within your specific program? So I guess I could chime in about this. You could get involved with, I guess it depends on your program too. For my program, at least, we had several classes that crossed over with MAMS students and other people from various departments. So I definitely made connections with people from MAMS and people from nutritional sciences, and we hung out right after that. But like I said before, that I actually met Kristen because of GMSSO, so we were able to interact during that time. But most of your, let's say if you are going your thesis, you definitely will be interacting with more of your lab mates and your PI, because they are the main people that are driving your thesis and developing your project too.
I do think there are great opportunities though for you to interact with other people. So for instance, I currently am living in the MSR, which is where all the medical students live. So I get to interact with all the first years and second years that are there right now. My roommate is actually, I believe, a fourth year medical student. So I get to interact with them. Also, there are great things, like there's actually a boat cruise where, well, sorry, steal your thunder. You actually get to like have fun and kind of let loose, and everybody, you know, from the GMS program is there, and you get to have a lot of fun. Or honestly, if you're sitting in the library, you're sitting in the like little green grassy area, there's always opportunities to interact with other people.
Cool. And then so we have another question. Could you explain the housing options? So I guess there are very different types of housing options that you could pursue at BU. Like Morgan was saying, like you could be an RA, she can talk more about that, but also there are resources for you that you could access online. BU Real Estate is a very, very resourceful, or like at least a very good website to start. There are various apartments that they rent out to students throughout the entire year. However, you could also do it look apartment hunting on your own. There are various different types of apartment complexes around BU, around Boston at least, that are very accessible not only by a bus, but by a T, but also sometimes walking distances. So there are communities out there that you could access, but a very good starting point is a BU real estate.
One thing I suggest is don't limit yourself to Boston. Look, Jamaica Plain, Roxbury, Cambridge, places that are not Boston proper, because there's a way to get to Boston. You could take the bus, like Erica says, you could walk, you could take the train. You have options, so don't limit yourself to just Boston when you're doing the research. I definitely suggest doing your own research or reaching out to your program. So we actually, the biomedical forensics, we have a Facebook page where all of our students talk like, hey, I am a new student, I'm about to move here, looking for roommates. And we actually currently have like 2 sets of people like living together that are classmates, and it's actually really cool because then they all travel together, but none of them live in BU housing.
The next question you can kind of lead into.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So, yes, the next question is, are there any TA or GA positions available for grad students? Yes, there are. So when you apply to your program, if there are positions available, they will let you know that, and you can apply to those your first year or even your second year. If your program is 2 years, you can change over and apply for that TA position. Also, I know BU has resources on the student link where you can apply for jobs. You can apply for part-time jobs. You can apply to full-time jobs that can actually help with your tuition, and you can work for the school. So those are some really good, positions available and resources. And like I said, I was an RA during my undergrad. So being able to extend that experience and that training that I had and be a grad RA was a very unique experience for me, and I definitely enjoyed it. And honestly, all I did was Google. Just Google.
So the next question is, what's the main bus line for easiest access to BU?
There's a couple.
Yeah, there are a few.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, the one bus goes up Massachusetts Avenue, out to Cambridge.
Yeah.
That's the one I take the most frequently.
Yeah. So and then the 8 goes all the way to Kenmore through Roxbury. The 47 also does that, but it goes through I think Brookline.
Yeah.
And then technically you walk like a block up, you can catch the SL5.
Yeah, the
line.
So I would look for buses in the South End area. It's very walkable.
And definitely, there are so many apps out there. If you look up an MBTA app, it shows you the buses, the schedule, the trains, and honestly, you could take a bus to a train and still make it in 20 minutes or less.
Sure. Many days.
Yeah.
Many days I've made that.
So I think this is one of the last questions until we have to restart over. So it says, I've been working a while attending school, and I was wondering if there are a variety of income opportunities on campus before moving to Boston. It's going to be a huge price change for rent, living expenses. I think for all the information. Yes, there are various types. At least for my program, we do work with individuals that work full-time currently. So we do have BMC and BU employees that are working full-time. So most of the programs are very flexible in your scheduling. Sometimes they'll work with you in order to ensure that you still meet your 40 hours, but also be a part-time student. So definitely talk to the program administrators of the program that you're interested in, because they'll be the ones that are able to talk about lessening your course load within the first 2 years or something like that, so that they can work with you independently.
But yeah, it also varies pretty significantly across programs. MAMS, I really would, and I don't think anyone in the MAMS administration would recommend working in your first year. Unfortunately, I get Boston is definitely a huge price change, but I was able to work part-time towards the end of my second semester, very part-time, and then throughout the summer and throughout this year as well. I'm like the BMC scribing position I'm currently with is a student job. I tutor here, like first years in my program, which is also a great student opportunity that a lot of my friends are doing as well. And there are a bunch of like, I know I am a like part-time barista on weekends. Like there are a ton of cafes and like restaurants around here. I know a lot of other grad students are doing that as well.
Cool. So I guess we're gonna restart for the people that just walked in.
Feel free to stay on
Yeah.
in case we say something else. Ask us questions, put in the chat throughout. We'll still see them. But yeah, we're just gonna give it a run through again.
Cool. You guys want to start?